The Galactic Union prided itself on cultural exchange. Every new member species brought food, art, traditions, and harmless customs for others to enjoy. The Lithari shared their crystalline music. The Zeln introduced undersea meditation. The Kale taught balance exercises in zero gravity. Then humanity joined. Humans, hailing from the infamous Class 15 Deathworld Earth, had a reputation for bizarre behaviors. Other species expected frightening weapons, brutal survival tactics, and dangerous pastimes. What they didn't expect was this. Humans claimed their favorite relaxation ritual was sitting in hot water. The first demonstration occurred at the Union Cultural Fair. The humans proudly unveiled a bathhouse chamber filled with steaming pools. Ambassador Selra of the Kale tilted her insectoid head in confusion. "You claim this is relaxation?" she asked. "Absolutely," said Lieutenant Harris, a grinning human volunteer. "We call it a hot bath. Nothing better after a long day." The aliens gathered curiously. To most, water was sacred, practical, or deadly. But heat, true heat, was universally feared. No species willingly submerged themselves in liquid nearing scalding temperatures. The crowd leaned in, expecting a trick. Harris disrobed, stepped into the steaming pool, and sat down with a sigh of pleasure. The effect was immediate. Selra's antennae curled in horror. A Droth warrior gagged, convinced the human's flesh was boiling off his bones. Several Zeln fainted outright, unable to comprehend someone choosing immersion in what they considered a torture bath. But Harris simply leaned back, closed his eyes, and smiled. "Perfect." The aliens erupted in panic. Union medics rushed forward, scanners flashing red with heat warnings. "Stop this madness," cried an Athari physician. "Your tissues are cooking alive." But Harris waved them off lazily. "Nah, this is mild. My grandma liked it hotter." "Hotter?" shrieked the medic, nearly dropping her scanner. The demonstration ended only when Harris finally stepped out, perfectly healthy, stretching as though he had just finished a spa treatment. The chamber reeked of confusion and terror. News of the torture bath spread like wildfire. Union broadcasts replayed the footage endlessly, a human calmly soaking in water that most species would consider a death sentence. Commentators argued whether it was an elaborate hoax or proof that Deathworlders had no concept of self-preservation. The Vrothi called it barbarism. The Lithari called it madness. The Droth simply muttered, "Of course. Only humans." Yet the humans were baffled by the reaction. "It's not torture," Eris insisted during interviews. "It's relaxing. Loosens muscles. Good for circulation. You guys really don't do this?" The galaxy answered with a collective no. Soon, curiosity overcame fear. A few brave aliens volunteered to try the ritual. Under human supervision, the pools were cooled to what humans considered lukewarm. Even so, most participants squealed, shrieked, or fled within seconds. For the aquatic Zeln, the sensation was described as boiling alive. The Kale likened it to walking willingly into a plasma storm. One Lithari endured nearly 2 minutes before screaming, "This is torture!" and sprinting away. Humans, sipping drinks by the poolside, just chuckled. The controversy escalated when the Union Ethics Committee intervened. "Your so-called hot baths," declared Chairman Orr, "constitute a form of cruel and unusual punishment by galactic standards. Exposure to liquids at such temperatures violates at least 6 interstellar health codes. We must forbid this practice outside of human-only zones." The humans protested. "You don't understand," argued Captain Torres at the hearing. "This isn't cruelty. It's comfort. After combat, after stress, after anything, we bathe. It heals us. We teach our children this. We build entire cultures around it." The Ethics Committee was unmoved. In their final report, they labeled the human bath ritual as Category 3 hazardous cultural practice. But the story didn't end there. Months later, during the Vrothi border conflict, a group of captured human soldiers were imprisoned on a remote station. The Vrothi, eager to break their will, reviewed Union records for effective torture methods. One report stood out: human hot bath ritual, classified as torture. Convinced they had found the ultimate psychological weapon, the Vrothi filled a chamber with steaming water and forced the prisoners inside. The guards waited for screams. Instead, they heard sighs of relief. "Man, finally." One soldier groaned. "Best treatment we've had since capture." Another laughed. "They even got the temperature right." When the guards opened the chamber, they found the humans lounging, chatting, and even singing. Far from broken, the prisoners looked rejuvenated. The Vrothi never understood why their torture made the Deathworlders stronger. Back in the Union, the legend grew. Scholars debated endlessly. Was the human hot bath proof of their pain tolerance? Evidence of biological insanity? Or merely another example of Deathworlder adaptation? To humans, it was simply Tuesday. Years later, Ambassador Selra still shuddered whenever she remembered that first demonstration. She had seen war, famine, and planetary disasters. Yet the most terrifying image burned into her memory was of a human sitting calmly in a pool of steaming water, smiling as if it were bliss. To her, and to much of the galaxy, the lesson was clear. Where others saw torture, Deathworlders saw relaxation.